Hey everybody, and welcome to another ActionFeatures.net Toy Talk review. Today we're taking a look at the Diamond Select Ghostbusters 7-inch Peter Venkman action figure from the second series of Ghostbusters figures based on the 1984 original film. This is our first review of this line. I know it's second series, but Peter Venkman's our favorite, so we decided to start with Peter, and then we'll work our way back through the other 5 figures. Peter Venkman is available in 2 ways. The one we're taking a look at right here is the comic shop version, or the special retailer, I don't know, specialty stores, I guess it's called, version, that comes with the diorama piece packaged in the back. These figures are also available through Toys R Us without these pieces for a much cheaper price. These are retailing at $25 a piece with the diorama piece included, and the Toys R Us exclusive versions are only $12.99 a piece, which is a great value for these figures. We'll get into more of that later on, but including just this piece here is an extra 12 bucks or so. The diorama will be huge when it's all built together, but right now you're just getting one piece, so it's kind of tough to justify that extra 12 bucks for that piece with just one part. Once it's all built together, then it'll make more sense. $13 though for all this by itself is crazy good. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. Alright, so this packaging is the same that Diamond Select uses across all of its lines. It's a large bubble attached to a card back with an extra piece of cardboard along the side. They use this for their Marvel Select, they use it for their Star Trek, they use it on the Muppets, they use it on all their stuff. Which is kind of neat that they carry forward the same packaging across brands to kind of give uniform look to all their releases. As far as the Ghostbusters go, we get a shot of Peter Venkman down here below, the Ghostbusters logo running up the side of the package. It all has a green motif, which makes sense, kind of ties into the whole ectoplasm and Slimer and all that stuff. The DVD releases had the green packaging, so it makes sense to go solid green on a lot of this. We get a larger shot of Venkman along the side, along with the Ghostbusters No Ghost logo, and then the back of the package features a larger shot of the Peter Venkman figure, the other 2 figures that are in this wave, Egon and Dana Barrett. A little blurb along the bottom here that says collect all 15 figures to build the giant rooftop scene. Now the first wave figures said collect all 12 figures, but then I think they decided to make the diorama a bit larger, or they decided to break up the way the pieces were handled. I don't know exactly why, but it's now 15 figures a piece, or 15 figures to complete the rooftop scene. The back of the package has a brief description about Peter Venkman, and I'm going to read that to you fairly quickly here. Dr. Peter Venkman was performing ESP research at a large New York City university when his funding was unceremoniously cut, leaving himself and his colleagues, Ray Stantz and Egon Spengler, out of work. However, a close encounter with a phantasm gave the trio the data they needed to catch and contain a supernatural entity, inspiring a new venture, the Ghostbusters. Acting as the public face and spokesman for the group, Peter took a special interest in their first client, Dana Barrett, whose building was the site of a doorway to another dimension. It was Peter who discovered, almost too late, that Dana had been possessed by the demigod Zuul, minion of Gozer. This 7-inch scale action figure is based on the 1984 feature film Ghostbusters and features multiple points of articulation, as well as accessories and diorama parts. It was sculpted by Gentle Giant Studios. And we've got some stuff down below, like the Diamond Select Toys logo, Ghostbusters, Sony Pictures, all that stuff. Alright, so I think that about... Oh, and as far as the Toys R Us version goes, it's a smaller packaging. It's just a bubble. It doesn't have this side part here. It's got the same green card back, but we don't have all the extra bits that we're seeing here with the specialty store version, or comic shop, whatever you want to call this version. You don't have all the extra parts. I don't have one of those Toys R Us versions to show you, unfortunately, but just take my word for it. Alright, let's get him out of there and we'll take a look at him loose. And here we have Dr. Venkman out of the package. Now I want to start off by saying that I have the neutrino wand posted onto the proton pack right now, but there's a good chance that'll pop off during the review. And we'll get into that in a little bit when it actually does pop off, if it does pop off. But just to warn you, if you see it pop off of there, I'm not even going to address it until we're describing it. I just have it like this so we can get a good look at all this articulation to begin with. The figure has, let's start at the ankles and work our way up. He's got feet that are on a rocker joint, so they go sort of on a plane. So you can get some nice kind of spread-legged stances out of him, more action-y type poses, and then they also hinge up and down. Then we've got a double knee joint. We've got a swivel at the top of the hip. We've got a style, there it goes. We've got a style of hip joint where it goes out and then hinges up and down, or swivels up and down rather. And these are kind of like the old DC Universe Classics ankles. They're hidden better because of this belt piece, but they're like that. And they are pretty tight, so that you get, it feels almost like they're ratcheting. So you can get him into poses and he'll stay in poses. The same with the knee joints, those are pretty tight. Actually, all these joints were really tight right out of the package, except for maybe the shoulders. I didn't have any issues with floppy joints or stuff that broke as I moved them. They were tight, but not to the point where it wasn't willing to move. He's got a swivel waist, and then he's got a mid-torso joint, and that one's not the most useful joint. Just kind of moves a little bit. I don't get a lot of ball joint movement out of it. It's just there, but it doesn't really do that much. It actually moves more than the waist does, but you don't get a lot of move around posing with that. And it could be because the outfit's restrictive. I don't know. He's got ball jointed shoulders. It looks like maybe they just hinge up and down and then swivel around. Same with the elbow. It hinges and then it swivels where it posts into the upper arm. And the same with all of the wrists. They post in, so they swivel, and then they've got a hinge that either moves them up and down or in and out, depending on which way the joint goes. Because some of the hands hinge up and down for holding the proton gun, and some of them hinge in and out. And then he's got a head that is mounted on a ball, but it also has a, I think it's got a hinge up and down. I could be wrong on that. Nope, it's just the ball. I thought it also had a hinge joint in there, but it seems like it's just a ball joint. But it does have a lot of movement. It does move around a whole lot. As far as the outfit goes, it's got the basic sculpt, but then it also has a separate piece that's the utility belt, and then the proton pack is a separate part as well. And actually, the rig that holds the proton pack is a separate piece from it. It looks like this was meant to be removable. I think they were saying that they were having problems working out a peg that wasn't going to break, so they went ahead and just made it so they're on there. But I think that if you heated this up enough, you could probably pop that peg and make this backpack removable. I'm not saying to do that, because you may end up breaking the proton pack, but it does look like it could be made to do that. The elbow pads also have a separate piece, the larger pad portion, and it really does a good job of hiding that joint. That elbow joint is really well hidden because of these pads covering up the back. It was a really cool way to do that. I was never a fan of how Mattel handled the elbow pads, where it was just part of the upper arm sculpt. It made the lower arm look really funky, and I think this does a really good job of it. Plus they had a dark spot in the front of their elbow pads, so this dark joint here is also really well hidden inside that dark paint spot. Speaking of paint, there's a paint wash all over the figure. Mine is a pretty clean paint job as far as lines and such go. He does have some glop on his neck, and they went with painted flesh tone on all of these, which gives it kind of a thicker look to the skin. That maybe some of the detail of the sculpt is a bit lost because of that painted flesh tone. I think that's something that Diamond Select does on most of their figures, though. They go with a painted flesh tone instead of something that's molded in flesh tone. I will say that other than that neck slop, though, mine is a pretty decent paint job. I didn't have googly eyes or any major rubs anywhere. It was just this major glop spot on the neck. That was about it. As far as the detailing of the proton pack goes, I'm really impressed by it. I may not know every single color of every single wire, and I'm sure there's guys online that do, but to me it looks really great. And all the little detailing of the labels here, I'll have better pictures online when we do still pictures, but these are actual like little labels that have been applied to the proton pack. It gives it like a level of authenticity that wasn't there with the Mattel figures. I really, really like it. Let me get this proton gun in his hand. Like I said, it's kind of tough to attach the proton, the neutrino on to the proton pack. It has this little like upside down V protrusion right here, and then on the side of the gun it has a recess like that. And it just kind of plugs onto it, but it doesn't stay on very well. That's kind of my major gripe about the figures across the board, is that the guns just don't stay on the packs very well. I, however, will always have them posed in their hands, so that's not as huge a deal to me. I'm sorry if he's not really in the camera right now. I'm trying to get him posed. I'll almost always have them like this. So there's really not that much of a drawback to me not being able to put them on the backpack. There's also an included proton stream, and the first series figures did not have this clear piece where the stream was supposed to plug into the wand. It didn't have this clear piece. I think they were going to go with a recess where you would plug the stem into there. I think that would have broke quite easily, so I'm glad to see this clear piece here. Now you have to contact their customer service to get the clear pieces to add to the first wave, but both Peter and Egon come with it on this wave, and those just plug right in. The streams are painted, they're not clear or anything, and they have this extra blue sculpting over them to give the different color layer of the film. Alright, let me kind of take this out of here. Oh, here's another cool thing you can do with this. If you do want to store your wand, you can just take this little side protrusion here and plug it right into this hook on the belt. Oh, come on. And display it on the belt. And they did that in the film too, so it's, you know, if you're wanting to store your wands and you don't feel like having them always pop off of the backpack, that's a great way to do it. Okay, so we've taken a look at him and the proton pack and the proton stream. He also includes a walkie-talkie, and that just goes into the little pocket here on his belt. There we go, stores really well. There's also a little spot here on the other side of the belt where the ghost trap that's included with Winston can plug on. So you can plug that ghost trap onto any Ghostbuster you want to put it on. When they first started showing these figures, they showed them all with no gloves on, and a lot of folks on different forums said, I really wish these came with gloves. So just in the nick of time, they were managed to go back and change and include extra hands that were gloved hands, as well as all the alternate flesh hands, the non-gloved versions. So he has, let's see, he's got one set on him when you get the figure of flesh tone hands, and then an extra 2 sets. So he's got 3 full sets of non-gloved hands, and then he's got 2 sets of gloved hands, and one's more open and one's more gripped. And each of those gloved hands comes with an extra piece that's separate that you slide over the cuff and then plug the hand on afterwards. So these just pull right off, and then you take this little glove piece, squish it onto there, and then plug in the new hand, and there you go. You have gloved versions of the Ghostbusters, so he's got one glove on and one glove off. I am probably going to pick up 2 of each one of these and display one without proton packs with the gloves off, and one with the proton packs with the gloves on. It's just a really cool, unique look. It's very nice that Diamond Select gave you the option within one figure to do both looks, and it's well executed. Now the hands themselves are the same sculpts, so they're just painted black so you can see the fingernails. But again, this was a last-minute addition to the figures, and so I understand why the same sculpt was used. It's just really cool that they gave you that option. Let's do some comparison here. So the previous figure of Peter Venkman from the first film was released by Mattel. You can see the difference in scale and sculpt and detailing. I'm not going to go overboard here describing how much better this one is than that one. Let everybody feel free to have their own choice, but I think it's kind of clear in the pictures who's the winner here. I would say, and we'll get into this more in the other review, that the drawback on this Peter is this hose. It should be sort of a clearish yellow color like on the Mattel figure, but they've gone with a solid color on this figure. But other than that, pretty happy with it. Okay, so we're going to take this over to the couch and give our final thoughts on him. But if you want to take some look at if you want to take a look at all the pictures, there'll be a link in the info section if you're watching this video on YouTube, or we'll have a full gallery of Peter Venkman up. But for now, let's go over to the couch and we'll give our final thoughts on this figure. I almost completely forgot. This is the comic shop version, and we need to take a look at his diorama pieces. So we are going to go over to the couch, but let's take a look at these first. Now, Peter includes 2 pieces in his packaging. Egon only has 1, and it's similar to this one, but we'll get to that when we get to Egon. He comes with the set of stairs, and these are kind of all on their own. There's a nice kind of dirty paint wash to them. And then we've got this section of the roof that also has a couple of stairs on it, and then a bunch of brick pattern behind it. These are large pieces, and when you imagine that there's going to be 15 of these pieces, it's going to be a big, big diorama. For now, it's just him and this piece, so it's not like it's the greatest section or the most exciting section in the world, but they are there. Now, the Toys R Us version, I forgot to mention this before, comes with a black oval stand. I don't have that version. I can't show you the oval stand, but it's just a plain black pegged stand. As far as standing the figures go, though, I haven't had too much problem with them flopping over. I use doll stands on all my stuff because I'm afraid of it falling over and something happening while I'm gone because I'm obsessive like that. But so far, I haven't had much issues with these guys falling over just standing there for pictures or for these videos or anything like that. So it's cool that they included that stand, though, because other people have said, with the figure being heavy up top with the proton pack, that it's a matter of finding a sweet spot to get them to stand in one position. So that included stand with the other version is pretty nice. You don't get that with the comic shop version. You get these diorama pieces, but no actual peg to stand for them to stand on. Okay, that covers everything. Let's go over to the couch and finish the review.
Oh, hello. It's time for the couch portion of the review. This is where we sit down and give our final thoughts on a figure that we're reviewing. We haven't done one of these in quite a while where it has all three of us. I think Keaton and I did a couple of months back.
Yeah.
That's for the school year. You know, we have a little baby running around. It's tough to do, this kind of stuff. Schoolwork, all that stuff. But it's summer break now. Hopefully get back on track a little bit with videos. I can't promise we're going to do one like every week or something.
Yeah.
But at least here's something. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so as you saw in the opening sequence, we're looking at the Peter Venkman Diamond Select figure. I've already given you a rundown on all the articulation, and sorry if I'm putting this in front of your face, Keaton, but we don't have that much space here. We've already given you a rundown on the articulation, the paintwork, all that stuff. This is just kind of where we give our thoughts on the line and this figure itself. First of all, the line is, for the line, Diamond Select, doing 7-inch Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters, the movie figures, were always like a holy grail for me.
Yeah.
Like, I always really, really wanted movie Ghostbuster figures.
Mm-hmm.
That was like tops for me. And then Mattel came along and they did those movie Ghostbusters.
Yeah, NECA before them, but they only got the ghosts.
Yeah, NECA only did the ghosts. So they did the two Terror Dogs and Gozer and Slimer. Those were cool.
Mm-hmm.
Those were more in scale with these. But anyway, that was kind of a heartbreaking thing because those ghosts were really cool, but I really wanted Ghostbusters to go with them.
Yeah.
You know, like, how do you just have just ghosts? So then Mattel comes along and they're doing those figures, and I like those figures. I think they're cool. I think they were really expensive for what they are.
Yeah, that's true.
They all use the same bodies amongst all four Ghostbusters. The paint apps were not really up to par with an adult collector figure. I thought that the figures themselves are great as toys, though, for like, as actual like playing with action figures. You like them a lot. When you were younger, you liked them a lot.
I got them for Christmas. Like, I'd get some for Christmas and birthdays here and there.
Yeah, they were
Fun to
cool.
play with.
They were fun. And the articulation worked well with them. I thought they were nice figures. I think where they really kind of failed was with the ghosts. I thought the ghost sculpts, like Zool was kind of a weak sculpt. I thought that the Lewis Tully was a really weak sculpt. And the price point was too high for what they were.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to think of one of them, but I can't remember. The guy in the picture, I can't remember his name now.
That's Vigo.
Yeah, Vigo.
Didn't I say that? What did I say?
You said Lewis, and you might have said Vigo.
Maybe I said I meant to say Vigo if I didn't.
You might
that
have.
sculpt was really poor.
Yeah,
it was really poor.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, I just thought that the figures kind of missed the mark. It was neat to have them and finally have movie Ghostbusters, but a lot of times they just completely missed the mark. So now that Mattel has kind of backed off on doing that line, although they're releasing a couple things here and there, we just saw
Like
the re-releases.
the animated Ghostbusters, are those still coming out?
No, they're not doing those. At least I don't think so. But they still did like they're doing the new movie ones, and they re-released the classic ones. We saw those at Walmart, right? And they still have the 2-packs on their website. So it seems like they're still dabbling in Ghostbusters, but something freed it up enough that Diamond Select was able to do. And maybe it's because they're doing 7-inch.
Yeah.
Because Diamond Select also does like Marvel Select figures, and those are 7-inch, and Hasbro still does Marvel Legends that are 6-inch. So it's kind of splitting that up, and that's kind of the same thing here. So Diamond Select announced, I think it was last year, they announced that these were coming.
San Diego Con, right?
I think it was,
Yeah. Pretty sure it was.
They showed Ray and Winston there, right? I think that was the first two they showed. And it was really exciting. I was like, that's the Ghostbusters I wanted. They got really nice sculpts, articulation looks good, really highly detailed, and there were slight differences amongst the figures, too. Like, the sculpts were slightly different. So that was really, really cool, and a cool thing that was happening. So the first wave came out, and that was Ray and Winston and Lewis. And the second wave is Peter, Egon, and Dana, which I think they call her Zool in the package. And they even call Lewis Vince Clortho, right?
I think they did.
So they're out now. And we wanted to jump back into reviews, and I really like these figures. You guys think these
Yeah,
are
I
really
think they're
cool?
really cool.
And Ghostbusters coming back to theaters. We're like, you know what? If we're gonna come back, let's start with these.
Yeah.
Let's start with these guys. And our favorite Ghostbuster, I mean, the three of us is
Yeah.
Peter Venkman.
Mm-hmm.
We all like Peter Venkman the best, so that's why we're choosing a second series figure to do first. These figures are available in two ways. You can either get them at Toys R Us and get just the figure and his, various hands and pieces and stuff, or through comics and specialty shops, you get them with a piece of the rooftop diorama. And I showed you this in the beginning sequence, so you really don't need to see it again. But Peter's piece is a piece of the roof and a set of stairs, so he almost gets like two pieces. And this diorama is going to be huge.
I thought that was super clever idea. That was
It's
a
so
really
smart.
Clever idea.
It's really,
Yeah.
it's really cool too, man. It's almost like you're building a playset without having to buy a playset.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be humongous. The dimensions were online, and it was like one of the dimensions was like 33 inches and like 18 inches, and I can't remember what the other one was, but it's gonna be humongous. But I also like that they're giving an alternative, and they do this with their Gotham line too, where if you don't want that diorama, you can get the figure cheaper and at Toys R Us, a Toys R Us exclusive version. So they take out the diorama piece, and once you get to that point with the Toys R Us version, in my opinion, this is the best figure value going, period. Because you get this Peter and all the stuff I showed you at the beginning of the sequence for $13.
At Toys R Us?
At Toys R Us, they're $13.
I didn't know they were that cheap.
Isn't that
Yeah,
crazy?
you can buy
This is
It's
$13.
close to the price of one of those Funko reaction toys.
Exactly. Funko Reaction, 5 points for articulation, $10.
Yeah.
These cover the articulation, all these extra pieces and stuff, $13. These are a 7-inch scale, which I love NECA. We all love NECA. We all think NECA does cool figures.
NECA's my favorite company out there right now.
Yeah, they really do cool stuff. But their figures are in that 7-inch scale too, and they're $22 a piece, which I always think that they get a lot out of their figures for $22.
Yeah.
This is crazy to get this for $13
Yeah.
though. So with the diorama piece, it's $25, and if I was just buying the diorama ones and getting them for $25, I would think that's still a great value.
Yeah.
But then when you look at the comparison of I got that one for $13, I paid an extra $12 for these two pieces, you may feel like, oh man, I paid a lot for these two pieces. But keep in mind, once you get this diorama all together,
it's going to be insane.
it's going to be awesome. It's going to be way cool. So there's all that. The figure itself, I think the sculpt is really solid. I think it looks like Peter Venkman. I love the detailing on the outfit. I love that their bodies are unique. They may reuse parts here and there, but if you really get in and look at them, there's like little tiny differences in like the folds and creases. They change up things on the utility belt a little bit. So you get really unique stuff, even though they're the same outfit, and they could have done what Mattel did and just cranked out the same body. You're not really getting to say very much other than you just agree with everything. Anytime you want to jump in, buddy, you just jump in, okay? All right. Although they could have done what Mattel did and just cranked out the same body 4 times, they're each getting something unique. Another thing I thought was really, really cool that Diamond did is people, when they first showed these figures online, this one's going to be kind of extra long because it's the first one we're doing. They showed that the belts had the lifeguard, which was this yellow thing that was on the Ghostbusters belts in Ghostbusters 2. And it's a thing in real life, and I think what it is firemen use it. If their body is still for a certain amount of time, it starts emitting this high-frequency beep. So that way if you're in trouble, they know where to find them.
That's cool.
The Ghostbusters 2 belts had those. And when they first showed the Ray and the Winston, they had those on their belts, and the guys on the forums and stuff were like, no. They didn't have those in Ghostbusters 1. That was Ghostbusters 2. And they also said that all of them had their hands out, no gloves, ungloved hands. And so they also said, is there any way we can maybe get glove hands with these? Because they really wore the gloves a lot.
Yeah.
So Diamond, they heard that feedback and immediately said, get those things off the belt before they go into production. They fixed that. And even though it was really close to production, they came up with a way to give you both gloved versions and ungloved versions in one release. Whereas Mattel never did that.
That's the way to work, like, it's hard to explain, kind of...
I think I know what you're saying. That's the way to really do something instead of releasing it twice.
Yeah, like, that's the way to run a toy company, like, relate to the fans and what they want.
Exactly, man. I mean, but you still have some of those Mattel ones, but it really kind of stinks to have to choose between, okay, this is the gloved version, this is the ungloved version. You got to buy one. I think you have to even, for a while there, you had to customize to get fully gloved versions out of them. Now they're in the 2-packs and they're all gloved, but that's fine. And it's really easy to do. You just pop off one of these hands. The gloved hand piece comes with a cuff piece. I'm grabbing the wrong hand. Comes with that little cuff piece, and it just plops right on there over the wrist, so that it completely hides that. And then you plop the hand into there. Plop or pop, however you want to say it. I say plop. You say pop. And that just pops right in. And then you've got gloved versions of all of them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's really cool. I like the gloved version.
It's really cool, man, and I like that they thought they heard what the fans said and they made it work, and it looks like it was intended to be like that all along.
Mm-hmm.
Great work. The minor quibbles that I have, the detailing is insane. Like the detailing of this Proton Pack,
yeah.
like all these stickers being really on there with all this printed stuff. That's really cool, and they have it so that the frame is separate from the actual Proton Pack. There's some things that I've seen people complain about online, like, oh, this hose is the wrong color, that hose is the wrong color.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about the Proton Pack to know what every single hose color should be.
And they're giving it to you for $13. You can't complain.
You nailed it, man. $13. You're getting this for $13. They really went all out on detailing. If maybe they didn't get one hose color right, think of all they did get right. You know, this is a really insanely cool figure. All the articulation works really well, and it's hidden pretty well. This hip joint, like I usually don't like this kind of hip joint, but it's kind of hidden by the belt. It's not restricted by the belt. Works really well. The one minor quibble, like I was going to say, was that the Proton Pack looks like it should be removable, but it's not.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're planning down the road for like other ones because it's separately sculpted.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I would. It seems like they were maybe wanting to. What are you doing down there? But it's like the peg is like glued in there, so I think that maybe they couldn't make it work and have it not break.
Mm-hmm.
They were more afraid of it breaking and leaving it removable and having everybody complain that the peg breaks, as opposed to just saying, well, glue it on there. If they want to take it off, that's up to them. So you could, and I bought a second set so that I could open one up and take the packs off and leave them with the ungloved hands and kind of have them just casual Ghostbusters with the packs off. Which that's one of the things that too about the Mattel figures, took them forever to do the removable backpacks.
Yeah, just now.
Proton packs. Yeah. So overall, love this figure. Oh, the other minor thing is, I think Mattel did the hose. They have this hose in their uniform, and it's for. Do you know what this hose is for? You want to take a guess? Just take a wild guess what this hose leading into their pants would be for.
I don't know.
What'd you say?
Pee.
He's right. These hoses on their outfit are for relieving themselves in case of fear situations. So if they peed their pants or something like that, this would take the pee out. So if they made an accident, these hoses, that's what they're there for. And Mattel, I think, got this better because they did them as clear, tinted hoses, and this is just a painted yellow hose. I think that they could have gone clear on this, probably look a little bit better, a little more accurate. Isn't that crazy? The Ghostbusters, in case they need to pee themselves, have hoses. The other thing a lot of people aren't happy with is the proton stream. They think Mattel did this better in that this one's like a painted color, and the Mattel did like a clear version.
I remember that.
Remember that? I kind of like the painted.
I like the painted also. Yeah.
The clear one looks like candy to me.
Yeah.
You
it's
know?
a little bit more thick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little more thick, and I don't know. In the movie, it's an animated effect.
So it's more of a solid color.
Exactly. To me, it looks more like a solid color as opposed to being a clear thing. I actually like the painted version.
Yeah.
Maybe the blue piping around it may not be the best. I wish it was kind of out a little more. But overall, I actually like the painted look better than the clear look. And these just plug onto the end of the proton stream, which I showed you earlier, and I'm spitting all over myself. They just plug onto the end of that proton stream with this little clip. The first wave accidentally forgot these clips.
So do you think they're going to reissue that way?
They're not. They're supposed to include these clips with Wave 2, but you can just contact Diamond's customer service and they'll send you these right out. Send them out fast, too. I sent them an email, and 2 days later I had my extras to put on the first ones.
Well, I mean, it's cool enough, but you don't need the thing.
You don't need the proton stream all the time. But if you're going to include it, it needs to go on the gun. It needs to be able to do that. Oh, you want to grab the package one real quick, Keats?
Sure.
We forgot to show a package one.
I do want to say real quick that Wave 1 is necessary characters, but Wave 2 is more exciting characters, I think. More
I would agree.
fan-likeable characters.
Well, I don't know. I think they've said that Ray and Peter are the two most popular.
I think that's true.
And I think, you don't think that's true?
I think that's true.
I think that's true, too. That's why Mattel has kind of heavy-packed those two in the current wave. You get 2 of those guys to every one Egon and one Winston. And that's also why the variants in the line to begin with are Marshmallow, Peter at San Diego Con. Or no, I'm sorry, that's an exclusive. The 2 out of the 15 figures, because you need 15 figures to be able to build the big diorama. Collect all 15 figures to build the rooftop scene. Out of those 15, only 2 Ghostbusters get repeated. you get Ray twice in the Quit in Time variant, and you get Peter twice in a slimed variant. That's because they're two most popular. So they broke up the two most popular into the first two waves.
Right.
But I would agree that Peter is the top,
100%.
and that Dana is a more essential character than Lewis is. So yeah, I think you're. Go ahead.
So, wait, does Quit in Time Ray? Does he have the proton pack with him?
I think he does. Yeah.
Okay.
And I hope. What's that?
I'm pretty sure he does.
I'm pretty sure he does too. I think he's got the proton pack on him. Yeah, I remember the pictures now. He's got the proton pack. We should go ahead and say all the figures real quick. This is the first video. First wave, we already said, is Ray, Winston, and Lewis, or Vince Clortho if you want to call him that. The second wave is Peter, Egon, and Dana, or Zool if you want to call her that. The next wave is Quit in Time Ray, Slimer, Janine. The next wave after that is Walter Peck, Gozer, and Slimed Peter. And then the fifth and final wave is the Taxicab Ghost, which is my favorite ghost from the Ghostbusters
It's
film.
my favorite.
Yeah, he's awesome. The Librarian Ghost, and a Terror Dog, which will be interchangeable between both versions of the horns that come out. Great wave. I mean, great building of the waves.
Yeah, I mean, it's evenly spread between like a little bit lesser characters and
Yeah.
then a bigger character.
That, and they kind of front-loaded the first half with all the things you really, really need, and then that final wave is almost like a bonus wave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't need the Taxicab
But if
Ghost.
you
You
wanna
don't
finish-
need the
I really
Librarian.
want it.
If you want to finish the diorama, you can buy that wave.
Yeah, and I don't think that they'll do different. I think Mattel only did the upper torso of the Taxicab Ghost.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't have legs or something. But I think Diamond will probably do the whole body.
Mhm.
Okay, so the packaging, real quick. I already read the front of it. Diamond keeps their same packaging for all their stuff, kind of this style for all the ones that are comic shops, and I think it works great.
Yeah, look, it's a nice package.
Maybe I like removable packaging where you can open it and close it, but I do like the large pictures on the side and the info they give on the back of the figure, where it's not just like, here's your standard package again and again and again, but dedicated information and dedicated picture. I think that's really cool. And then the Toys R Us version is much smaller. It's missing like this area here and doesn't have to worry about the diorama pieces. All right, what are you guys have any final thoughts you want to give on Peter?
Do you want to go first?
Not really.
You know anything you want to say about Peter Venkman?
Not really.
Not really. You pretty much just agree that it's a cool figure, right? I understand. What do you
I
think?
have final thoughts on the line. I mean, like the line itself, not Peter.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think
It's the first one, so we might as well.
I think it would be cool if they did Ghostbusters 2 and you had like the in-museum scene as the diorama and that.
That would be cool. A lot of people are saying, like, they've already said that they would go on to Ghostbusters 2 if this is planned out through 2017.
Yeah.
So they have to see how this entire line goes.
It'll be a while, but
So yeah, it'll be a while, but they've got to focus on finishing this up. But they have the rights to Ghostbusters 2. They have the rights to the cartoon. So I would love to see Ghostbusters 2.
yeah.
And I'm looking at the size of that diorama, and I'm like, man, why couldn't they just do like an Ecto-1 that doesn't move?
That'd be cool.
Do that in pieces, Like, that would be cool. The whole, the museum thing, like you said, would be cool. But I would really love it if they could somehow do an Ecto-1.
Yeah.
And just make it so it doesn't move. You don't have to put the figures in it, but it can just sit with your figures. Mezco has just, teased and announced that they're doing a 112 collected Ghostbusters. And they want to do an Ecto.
That's cool.
That's way cool. I think it's awesome. For my money, though, I'm kind of more excited about this line because they're only, especially if you can get them at a discount. Your comic shop, a lot of comic shops offer discounts. You can get them like $20 a piece. Mezcos are going to be 60 to 80. 60 on the low end.
Is it like
Probably
the,
more 80 to 100.
Is it like the Dark
Like the Dark
Knight
Returns.
Yeah.
Great figures. But
Really
once you add all
nice.
those up, and then if they actually do an
Expensive.
Ecto, it's going to be really expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they should do like a Marshmallow Man.
Diamond does a Marshmallow Man.
I know, but like a huge one, and it comes
It's
with
pretty big.
little things that go on the Ghostbusters that are like marshmallow.
That's a great idea. They are going to do Marshmallow variants. They're doing the San Diego Comic-Con Peter. They've already figured out a way they're going to do Ray, and they said they have the other two ready to go if those first two perform well. As far as a Marshmallow Man, though, they said they're not going to do a Marshmallow Man figure because they already do those Marshmallow Man banks. And they did one. You have one of those.
I have one of those.
You have the 11-inch one. They do one that's 2 feet tall.
Wow.
So they already do the biggest Marshmallow Man you can buy.
Is it bigger than the Mattel one?
Bigger than the
That's
Mattel
pretty
one.
big.
It's like 4 inches taller than the Mattel one.
Whoa.
It doesn't move, but it's the best Marshmallow Man sculpture you can get. I'm actually going to get one now that I've got these. I'm like, man, I really want that Marshmallow Man. Mattel one's cool, but I really want that Marshmallow Man.
And that'd be cool to put on the rooftop.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
You put the rooftop and put him beside it. Yeah, that would be really awesome.
So it would just show part of his head. And
Yeah.
You should kind of put a little of his arms up there.
You can't move his arms. He's one piece because he's the bank. But you really don't need to move him. He's Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
And you'll have to keep your money.
If I'm probably gonna get that. So if we do get that, we'll take a look at it too. The figures.
You know what they should do with the Marshmallow Bank? You know how mine has the head where it
Pops
screws
off?
off?
Yeah.
I think they should have two heads. One that has like the one where it's like.
You should work for
frowning.
Diamond because they did both versions. They did both versions. They did an angry one and a regular one. They didn't do the head pop off thing like on yours. He's so big that they put a thing on his foot where you get the money out. But they did do both heads, just like you just said. So you're on it, man. You should work for Diamond Select Toys. Diamond Select Toys. If you watch this, if you're hiring, he'll work cheap. You know,
Free
you pay him in toys.
That's it, yeah.
He's good to go.
Ghostbusters.
All right, so are we good on this one? We give the Diamond Select Ghostbusters line overall big thumbs up.
Yeah.
And the Peter. Oh, the one thing unique about the Peter too is they got everything right. Is that he's got the pants down over his boots. The other Ghostbusters had their pants tucked into the boots. So it's really cool to see his uniqueness on the shelf with his pants over his boots.
So, are all Ghostbusters out yet, or is there?
All 4 Ghostbusters are out. So the first 2 waves are out. All 4 Ghostbusters are out. And then the 2, Dana and Zool, or Dana and Lewis are both out. And the 3rd wave's not until October or something, I think. All right, so we're going to sign off on this one. We may record another one today, so we get 2 up this week. We'll see how it goes. But we're going to try and get caught up at least on these, focus on getting just these 6 things done. And that way we're caught up on it, and we're ready when more come out, and then we'll focus on some other lines throughout the summer. All right, so we're going to sign off on this one. Let's see you guys next time.
See you.
See ya.